My name's TJ Shutter, and this is my Duality. May 8th, 1992, I was born, but I was born a little different. I was born with a cerebral palsy, and how you get this essentially is that you're born early. And what it does is it just, it affects your body parts, in this case my legs, from reading the messages of my brain. The disease definitely surprised my parents.
I don't think that's anything that you can ever really truly prep for. There was always that feeling of, what did I do wrong to cause it? And both his dad and I, went through that. It was just, what did I do? What could I have done differently so that this wouldn't have happened?
I believed in God, but I didn't know the whole spectrum he had to play on my life. We used to go to church. We would have classified ourselves back then as being Catholic, so yeah, I knew what God was. I was angry at him. I didn't understand how a God who loves people so much could make a kid who was so different and just picked on and always angry. I felt like he made a mistake, and because there's no possible way that you could love someone and want them to have what I have. The first time I remember feeling different is either kindergarten or beginnergarten, and I had to go to school in a wheelchair because I think I was recovering from surgery. I don't want to make it seem like it was more than it was, but yeah, I would get picked on a lot. I didn't really have a lot of friends. I'd go home and cry all the time, because I just knew that I was different. I felt burdened, that I was a burden for my family. It put stress on them, especially my mom, the one who had to drive me to all the stuff and all the doctor's appointments and physical therapy. I don't know how she did it sometimes, honestly. I felt guilty. I felt ashamed. I felt like, why would someone create a kid like this? I don't really know how else to describe it. It's rough. No kid wants to feel out of place. No kid wants to feel different, in a sense. Not like we're all normal, but quote unquote, every kid wants to feel normal. This is my house. I've been living here for approximately 11 years. So I had 3 surgeries up until now. I had one when I was about 2, 5, and 14.
Him going through the pain that he went through, he's had multiple Botox injections where we've had to have people lay on him because they're so painful. And it's, really hard sitting there watching your kid be pinned down to a table so that he can get the shots, even though it's helpful to him. But it's just, it's a lot of crying and it's a lot of stress.
We tried everything. Herbal remedies. I did some kind of water therapy. I did tons and tons of physical therapy.
When he came out of surgery, he was in the hospital for 3 or 4 days. and, you know, in pain. We couldn't get his pain under control. We couldn't, you know, it was always something with the surgery. The last one was the worst because, of course, he was in middle school, and it was, you know, really hard to have his mom taking care of him. He was an independent kid, and he went from being independent and doing everything for himself to having to have his mom wash him, help him go to the bathroom, get him up, put him in his chair, get him from his chair into his bed.
I remember having to be in a double leg cast from the only thing I could see was my toes up until like about here. And I had a metal bar in between them so they would heal properly, and I had screws on the side so you can unscrew it. I think they were able to fit me through this door, no problem. But as they were rolling me in on the wheelchair, they had to lift me up and put me sideways just so I could fit through this door because of the metal bar and the cast in between, and they had to gently place me on my bed, which was over here on this side of the wall at the time. I never really wanted to move because it hurt whenever they moved like the cast or set me down a certain way, and it was just a hassle for everyone, so I kind of just tried to stay in one spot as much as I possibly could. Sleep was hard for me. I remember distinctly, like a couple times I'd get yelled at for this, but I would in the middle of the night, if I couldn't sleep, I would unscrew I knew how to unscrew the bar after a while, and did that just so I could sleep. I just remember looking up towards my ceiling and just being like, man, I don't know how much more I can take of this. I just remember one night specifically where I was just like fed up and I just had enough, and I was just like, you know what? This isn't gonna be worth it. I'm done. My family doesn't need me. My friends don't need me. And this didn't just happen like the next day. It just kind of happened. It kind of just kept piling and piling on through months of just laying in bed, just doing homework, just doing sometimes nothing. It was so hard to sleep. I could barely sleep at night. It got to the point where I just felt like I had enough, and this one night I knew that this was it, and then I had this little end table and pills were sitting on it, and for some reason, I don't know why, but for every reason, they were just sitting there. A constant battle of just two voices. One just saying like, you're worthless, you're a burden to your family. Just go ahead and take those so that you don't have to be here anymore. Just go ahead and try to end your life. Kill yourself and you'll no longer be a burden to your family anymore. your family is going to be happy without you. And then finally it felt like a presence just showed up in the room, and he was like, you don't need to do that. You have so much to live for. Don't listen to what he says. I have you put on this earth for a reason. I'm not gonna tell you what that reason is, but you're not a burden and you're not worthless.
I prayed that, God, if this is your will for me to live, then you just make these surgery results better than the last one. And I was like, I was just so desperate to belong, to not feel like that burden anymore. And after it felt like months of healing, it turned out that the surgery was more successful than all the rest. Yeah. I didn't immediately follow Jesus after that, but it's something I'll never forget. For the rest of my life.
And that was the first time God ever showed up in my life. And it was the first time I ever experienced the realness of God and His light shine in the darkness.
This is where all the cool kids hung out. This is where they also did like bad stuff, like drugs. And I used to play here a lot as a kid. I mean, I didn't really have much of a yard, so this basically was my yard.
Well, because I grew up Catholic, I didn't really know what living for Jesus meant. I thought it was just go ahead and proclaim His name whenever you want to. Wear a cross on your neck, and you can do whatever you want to. You can drink, you can party, you can just do whatever you want.
I was getting bullied a lot in my younger years, like middle school, because I had just moved in 5th grade and no one understood me. So I found a group of friends that understood me, and unfortunately it was like the wrong group of people.
I was always hanging out with the stoners and the partiers because I felt like they were the only group of people that were really accepting of me. So that led me to do a lot of things like drinking and smoking weed and just things that I know now aren't living for Jesus whatsoever. The surgery was so successful that I was able to actually do more things, become more mobile, and I was working out 2-3 times a day at one point just because I just love the satisfaction and the feeling that I could actually do more and and become more than I was when I was a kid getting bullied. Around my 11th grade, heading into my senior year, I started doing MMA, and I started getting strong, and I started to become the bully of my own, the person that I didn't want to be, because I felt like I know I was insecure, and to make myself feel better, I would pick on people that were minuscule in my head compared to me.
All my boxing / wrestling stuff. Some stuff I used to wear when I was training. I'd try to get people to basically feel how I used to feel. And I used to think that was right. I just wanted that feeling of power, or that feeling that nobody could touch me. And it really started to develop pride in my life. I started thinking I was better than people and stuff like that. It kind of makes me sick now. Not to look at this stuff, but the stuff that I used it for when I could have maybe been using these gifts for something better than just having to feel power hungry and pick on people because I felt like the world owed me something, when that's not the case at all. The world doesn't owe me nothing. When I graduated high school, I quickly realized that life's not a joke.
It was kind of hard to beat it through his head. He always wanted something there to back him up. And I told him, I said, at some point in time, you're not going to have that backup, and you need to be able to figure out how to do it by yourself.
I was caught in between, hey, let's party every weekend because I'm out of school, I'm graduated, and I can drink now, to everybody feel sorry for me because of the stuff that I been through. I felt like the world owed me. Once again, the world owes TJ Shutter, when in reality it didn't owe me anything. When I was 22, I was going to church at the time. I just didn't really feel connected. Someone invited me to come out to check out this church, and Gateway was just so loving and willing to pray for me, and I didn't really understand what being a Christ follower meant. And I felt like as time went on, he just continued to break down walls of pride, and the world owes you something, to now you have had the love of Jesus all along. You owe the world something, if anything. I'm still not where I want to be, but I thank God every day that I'm not where I used to be. It's just great. And every time I come up here, I look up in the sky, and it's almost like he's looking, it's almost like I can see his face up there. To answer, who am I now? I'm no longer just TJ Shutter, but I am now TJ Shutter in Christ. Jesus only works if you step out. If you stepped out of your little confined box to actually try to make something of yourself. And ever since I came to Jesus, it's almost like my life has been completely flipped upside down. Hey man, what's your name?
Roy, how you doing?
I'm TJ.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
What's going on?
Do you believe in Jesus? He died on the cross so that we can be forgiven of our sins.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
I think he did the right thing.
10 years ago, he said that he had planned for me, and I basically just keep moving on one step at a time with Jesus at my side now. I started working, and I am forever thankful for what he has done in the group he has placed me in, and what he continues to do in my life now that I've stepped out and tried many different things. And I am just so grateful. When I think of disabled, I think of like not being able to do anything. Like, kids would always try to tell me that I was like crippled and stuff, when in reality that didn't really make any sense, because I'm not. I'm just a little different than everybody else.
I remember as a kid wishing I was the same, an outcast who didn't fit in the world's frame. My best friends with some earbuds and a CD, locking myself in a room where no one could see me. Just put it on repeat, just let it play. Hip hop raised me, M-Pac and Dre. Like a dove, I just wanted to fly away. I packed my bags for a flight one way, and I'm never coming back. Like Hayes Comet, just looking to make an impact. But instead, I got jet lag. My life spiraled out of control like a plane crash. This led to cutting my heart like a gash. There was nothing left to salvage. Ooh, all right, let's go. You got all that, right?
Yes, I do still have cerebral palsy. My disease may not have went away, but I just no longer have to do it on my own. My name is TJ Shutter, and I thought it was a mistake, but for God.
I cannot wait to not watch this on video.